Joy Guru, I am Amalendu Chatterjee. I am an ex-associate professor and a SPR. I do discuss religious or spiritual or related topics as far as my little knowledge goes. Do subscribe to this channel of mine, namely Anukul Kotha, and also share if you like my deliberation. Today, or you can say today's deliberation is, why do we get angry? I would try to unravel the mystery behind this. And at the outset, I must say that the main reason, or you can say the root cause for getting angry is ego. Ego is the root cause, or you can say ego or pride is the root cause for getting angry. Of course, there are some intermediate components in between, but then this is the you can say answer, the shortest possible answer, and this answer is given by Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. But before going to the details, let me tell you a personal experience. You see, an incident which is within my personal experience. Once I was attending a spiritual lecture, you see, of a spiritual master on an open field under the shadow of a tree. And we saw that a middle-aged person was slowly coming towards us. He was he looked a very ordinary people. But later on, we came to know that that particular person was a very famous professor in physics. Our spiritual master is is also a DSc holder in physics, and he was a very good teacher. And this professor wrote a book on a particular topic, and he gave a copy to our spiritual master and wanted a comment upon his book. And at least he gave that copy a fortnight ago, and our spiritual master instructed him to come on that particular day. Accordingly, he came and wanted the comment, and immediately our spiritual master frowned at him with neglect, of course, and very reproachfully said, being an outstanding professor in physics, you have written books of such inferior quality, inferior standard. Really, you have written something very trash. While he was telling his comment like this, there was a visible change in the body and mind, body and face of that professor. His body was stretching off and on, and his face was swollen. In other words, anger was all written all over his face. And ultimately that professor commented, "What do you think of yourself? Being a spiritual master, you think that you know everything under the sun. Remember, you are just a jack of all trades, but master of none. Remember, in order to criticize, a person needs to rise a particular level, and you have not risen to that level. I have done stupidity, by soliciting a comment from you. Now return my book, and I will go straight away from here." While the professor was telling all these deliberations, our spiritual master was very patiently listening his deliberations, and he was smiling all along. And at last he said, no, actually he caught his hands and said, no, professor, you have written very excellently. As a matter of fact, this should be treated as a masterpiece upon this subject. Actually, I was doing some prank, some practical jokes, and wanted to see your reaction. I have already written the comment, and I will submit to you once this class will be over. And later on, our spiritual master told us that this was, he did it to show us the outward manifestation of intellectual pride. That is again ego, as I have already stated. So therefore, just see that ego or pride is the prime reason for anger. And here our spiritual master has stated that, just see, intellectual pride is a very dangerous kind of pride. Because people have pride or ego upon on their or you can say for their bodies, for their minds, but for their intellects, this pride is particularly very dangerous. You can say the most dangerous one. Sri Thakur Anukul Kotha stated that no complex is more, you can say no complex proves to be the, you can say more impediment to learn knowledge than intellectual pride. This is the most, dangerous kind of pride. See, there are some people who have pride for their bodies. You see, just a month ago, a person told me that you people, or rather I should say, he advised me that, you see, you people who are engaged in spiritual matter or religious matter, but then you cannot keep your body fit. But just see, as a matter of fact, just say, what is your age? He asked me, and I told him, well, I am 66 running. And he told, just see, you are just 66 years old, and your hairs turned grey, almost white. Can you guess about my age? Knowing fully well that this person would be satisfied if I said, he said that you are 55 or like that, and I told like this, that well, you look like 55 years old, like that. He got immense pleasure, I should say, and then he told, yes, people say so, you see, but then I am 20 years more than 55, but just see my body. So, see, it's not always, you see, you must do physical exercises and must take healthy food. Only then you can remain fit like me. Even on let's say 75 years. So therefore, this kind of pride is, you can say, the bodily pride. This is a very gross form of pride. But there are people who have ego or pride for their minds. They used to say that I am a very simple person. I have a very simple mind. You see, I am not so critical like others. You see, the other people, the minds of other people are all complicated, are all, you see, complex, but I am very much simple like that and this. That means he is boasting, he is actually, his pride is upon his mind. But this is, of course, this is also a gross form of pride, but definitely rather subtle pride than bodily pride. But then intellectual pride is the most dangerous one. You see, just for example, in this case, that particular professor, you see, got angry. The reason why. So the ultimate manifestation, the ultimate sequence or ultimate consequence is anger. Now what is the primary component? We said it's a kind of series. You can say this is a kind of sequence. The first component is definitely ego. This person, this particular professor, had no ego for his body, for his mind. He didn't care for any earthly possessions, and he had no attachment, see, over earthly attachment, but he had immense intellectual pride, and our spiritual master actually struck his intellectual pride, and that was enough, you see, to to make him angry. So the main reason is ego. According to Sri Thakur Anukul Kotha, the sequence is just like this, that the ego or pride, in Bengali it is called ahankar, it brings attachment or infatuation. In Bengali it is called ashokti. And this infatuation, that is attachment for earthly things, I should say. And so attachment and infatuation prompts selfish thoughts. And this, you can say, selfish motive or selfishness. And this selfishness prompts desire or lust. In Bengali it is called kam. Not all desires are bad, but definitely if we desire for something which is selfish desire, that desire is definitely bad, and that desire is known as kam. And this lust or kam, this brings the anger, and this anger ultimately brings envy or malice. So the sequence starts with ego or pride and ends with envy or malice. So the ultimate sequence is envy or malice, while the penultimate sequence, you can say penultimate component of the entire sequence is anger. So therefore, this is the sequence. As a matter of fact, just try to understand the reason why the professor got angry. You see, when our professor, our spiritual master struck him intellectually that you have written something trash, you have written books of very inferior quality, then and there that professor got angry, because he got struck to his ego. Actually his ego got struck. So therefore he got angry. So the reason that ego, that means he had ego, the first of all ego for or pride for his intellect, and that particular intellect, that egoistic intellect, I must say, egoistic intellect actually brought attachment or infatuation towards earthly things, and this infatuation or attachment ultimately brought then it brought the selfish thought, selfish motive or selfishness, sartha buddhi. And this selfish motive, that I am the only writer of such kind, on particular I have written the masterpiece for this particular topic or subject. Nobody can. This is the selfish thought. And ultimately this selfish thought, or you can say selfishness, brought anger. So just see the sequence, and so we must give up. We must abandon our intellectual pride. In this connection, I can recall a particular incident which happened in front of in front of a sannyasin son, in case of our holy mother Sarada Devi, the wife of Lord Ramakrishna Dev. One day she was standing near her cottage, and a sannyasin son was also there, and a person with an ill motive came to vilify our holy mother, and he used very abusive languages, and he went on actually speaking I should say abusive languages to enrage our holy mother. But our holy mother very patiently, he was listening the entire deliberation, and he didn't utter a single word. Ultimately finding no other alternatives, I should say, the person went away. Actually that person wanted that our holy mother would say something, and with that particular saying he would start fresh quarrel like this. But he didn't get it, and he went away. But then the sannyasin son, he said to holy mother, just see, I got very angry. I would like to treat him accordingly. You please permit me to do so. See, this person has spoken so many abuses, so many vilifying words upon you, which are entirely false, which are entirely based on, which are entirely false, and then you have not told even a single word. Then our holy mother forbade this sannyasin son to do such act, and said, just see, he wanted to give something, but I didn't take it. Here ends the matter. So just see, that means because of the fact that this holy mother had no ego, had no pride whatsoever, that is intellectual pride or whatever, that was the reason why the holy mother, didn't get angry. But again, as a matter of fact, we actually feel proud about our intellect. This is more or less the case, because for example, I can understand by reading myself. I am a professor of zoology, and I always thought actually that whenever another professor of zoology actually gave deliberation upon particular subject of zoology, I always thought that I knew much more than him. So that means I know something. This pride is enough. This is what is known as intellectual pride. And in this connection, I can recall an incident that a person asked Sri Thakur Anukul Kotha that it is said that you know everything under the sun. How is it possible? Sri Thakur Anukul Kotha had categorically stated that, see, that I know, I do not know anything. I do not know that I know anything. I do not know that I know anything. But then that means I am a very stupid people. Maybe that is the reason why my Supreme Father is kind enough to explain everything, before me. And maybe this is the reason why nothing seems to be unknown to me. Just see, here also Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra stated that he had no intellectual pride. That was precisely the reason why that he knew everything under the sun, above the sun, beside the sun. That means he knew everything of this universe and beyond this universe. And this should be the case, because and just see the simple confession of Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. He has stated that I am a stupid person. Who can say it? Only who is the most wise person. There is a saying, and this saying also is told by Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra, that the supreme persons are generally, they have some you can say unique features, that they are abnormally normal, wisely foolish, and gorgeously simple. They look like abnormal people, but they are the most normal people. They look like foolish people, but they are the most wisest people of the whole, you can say, whole universe. And they look very simple, but they are the most gorgeous people of this whole universe. This should be the characteristic feature. So, and then there is a saying also that to know is to know that to know nothing. To know is to know that to know nothing. This is a very, famous saying, because of the fact that I am, a Nitya Buddha Siddha Mukta Atma. I am an eternal. Nitya means eternal, Buddha means enlightened, Mukta means free, Siddha means pure. So therefore I am eternal, I am an eternal and enlightened, a free and a pure soul or Atman. So therefore, nothing, I know everything, but what is to be learned? That to know is to know that to know nothing. But that's because of the fact that I am an enlightened soul. So I am an enlightened soul. So therefore I have nothing to learn. But then this thing that I am enlightened, to know, whenever I know that I am an enlightened soul, then there is nothing to be known. So therefore this is a very famous saying. But then in conclusion, I would like to say that try to give up intellectual pride as much as we can. This advice is equally true for myself also. Not that I am giving the advice, no. But then it is a fact that those people who are, particularly I am talking about the supreme persons, all of them have said the same thing, that Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra, for example, in the only small book that he has written by his own hands is Satta Anusaran, in which he has written that that no complex proves to be more impediment to learn knowledge than intellectual pride. So intellectual pride is the most dangerous enemy of ourselves. Beware of this particular enemy, because it's very difficult, I should say very, very difficult to overcome this particular enemy. You can say the vices, I should say, vices of this particular enemy, that is intellectual pride. But try to understand, try to identify that who is the enemy, who is the worst enemy, who actually hinders to learn knowledge. Knowledge, there is a question, or you can say, what is knowledge? There are two kinds of knowledge. One is Paravidya, another is Aparavidya. Paravidya means the knowledge about God. And it is said that since Supreme Being, for example, Supreme Being, or you can say Supreme Person, knows everything. This is about the knowledge of God. And a person who knows everything about God, he knows everything. Everything about Aparavidya also. Aparavidya means that the learning, or you can say the knowledge that we learn in schools, colleges, universities. These are known as Aparavidya. This is also a kind of knowledge, there is no doubt about it, and we need to learn this knowledge. But then it is always better to have knowledge to know who are you. That I am the Nitya Buddha, Nitya Siddha Buddha Mukta Atma. This is what knowledge is all about. So, and in this connection, I can recall that once a disciple of Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra wanted to know the inner message or inner meaning of a particular motto that Sri Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra had given on that particular day. And then Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra asked him that you please tell me, because you are intellectual people, I am a very stupid people, so therefore you please tell me. But then that particular disciple, since he knew about the life philosophy of Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra, and he stayed, you can say he stayed, long under Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra. That's why he stated that, see, Thakur, earlierly I thought that I know something, but now I am sure that I do not know anything, and whatever I knew I want to forget, and I want to learn from you. Then Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra was pleased and said, just see, he said that Kedarda, the name of that person was Kedarnath Bhattacharya, and that's why he was saluting that person as Kedarda, and said, see, Kedarda, how can you gather knowledge about everything? That's why try to understand the person who is the very embodiment of knowledge, who is the very epitome of knowledge. Gyan Swarup, in Bengali it is called Gyan Swarup. And then I am sure, I tell you for sure, that you will learn everything, whatever you want to learn. And this is definitely the answer. That is, we must adhere, we must try to learn that particular person who is the very embodiment of knowledge, who is the very epitome of knowledge, that is, who is Gyan Swarup. Only then, see, we know everything. And by knowing that, our intellectual pride will automatically, it will dissolve. So, live in love. Joy Guru.